Thank you for tuning in to the NSUSpartans.com Football Coaches Show. This week, again, joined by Spartan head football coach Pete Adrian. Coach, thanks for joining us today, as always.
Always my pleasure.
All right, Coach, looking at last week, we had the opportunity to travel to Morgantown, West Virginia, your alma mater, to take on West Virginia, and I'm sure people who might not have seen the game or been at the game might have seen the score on TV or on the internet, saw the final score was 55-12, and said, oh, it might have been your typical FCS versus FBS game, but certainly we know in the first half it was a much different story.
Oh yeah, there's no question. I mean, we played a great first half, and for us to be winning at halftime against the top 20 team in the country that's picked to win the Big East and whatnot, it's a great accomplishment for our players at that time. You know, unfortunately, you got to play both halves, and the second half it got out of hand a little bit. But when we played 22 versus 22, we had a pretty even show, and I really thought our kids did a great job.
As you said, leading 12-10 at halftime. As far as we know, the first time a MEAC team has ever been leading one of these games against a team from the former Division 1A FBS, as far as we know, and really nothing fluke about it. Your team played very solid in all phases of the game in the first half. You outgained them by almost 100 yards offensively. Your defense had some big stops, and your special teams played well. Yeah,
I mean, the goal line stance was really a highlight. I mean, anytime you have a team like that that's first down on your 1 yard line, and 7 plays later they got to take a field goal, and you won that battle. And you know, the fact that they had 7 plays from the one, in fact, after the pass interference goal on third down, they had 3 plays from the half-yard line, and didn't have the confidence to try to run it in. They tried to run it, got stuffed, and they tried to have to throw it. And, you know, when you're in the half-yard line with the first down, you ought to be trying to run the football. And they felt they could not do it, so that was a great compliment to our guys up front. And of course, we won the battle line of scrimmage in every one of those plays.
Now, this was your 4th time playing in one of these types of settings, and it was pretty obvious early on that your players weren't intimidated at all. They came in and were up to the challenge and didn't seem to be intimidated at all by a crowd of what was over 51,000 fans.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason why you play those games, you know, because you want to put them in that atmosphere. And now, the rest of the season, we're not obviously going to see any crowds that big and that hostile and whatnot, and hopefully we don't see the talent level that we have at West Virginia. I mean, there's no question they had great speed at the skill positions, and their special teams were extremely fast, and you have to worry about all that speed of trying to get a punt blocked or a kickoff return and things of that nature, because we've got great athletes playing in space, and I thought we came out of it really in great shape, a lot of confidence.
Now, as you said, in the second half, West Virginia's talent and depth took over a little bit there. You saw, while they were ranked 19th in the nation, what do you attribute the second half to? Obviously, a talented team you're playing there, and things just kind of seem to snowball on you.
Part of it is that in the first half, we were getting our jams on the wide receivers pretty well, and in the second half, you know, I don't want to use the word lazy, but we weren't jamming them, and you can't let kids with that type of speed and talent just run through your secondary. And of course, Geno Smith is probably the best quarterback we're going to see all year. At least I hope he is. I mean, he can really throw the football on a rope. And I think they had something to prove. I know they got a good tongue lashing at halftime and the whole 9 yards, and they came out with a sense of purpose. And probably the worst thing that happened to us when we let them score the first time they had the ball, and then that just gave them more attitude that here we go, you know. And we needed to certainly get a stop, and we weren't able to get that stop. But if we could have got a stop in the third quarter, obviously it would have been a lot closer.
Now, as you move forward from that, obviously I'm sure your players were a little disappointed at the end result, the end score, especially considering how they started. But as you coaches look at the film and move forward in the season, what do you think the players will realistically be able to take from that experience?
Well, you know, the fact that you were able to go 30 minutes at their place and play them head to head, step to step, and on both sides of the football. You know, like you said, I think we had 240 yards offense at halftime, and you know, they had like 140, and they certainly had some field position through the missed onside kick, and I think they had a punt return and broke a run on us where we missed some tackles, and we were able to get out of all of those. So it gives you a lot of confidence right there. You know, I've told the kids, you know, we've already played the best team that we're going to play on our schedule, as it should be. Let's see what we can do with the rest of the schedule. We have to come out with that same intensity every game and play 60 minutes with that intensity, not 30.
Now, to look at some specific players who really stood out on Saturday, starting with your special teams, Ryan Estep was named MEAC Co-Special Teams Player of the Week, hit 3 field goals, at least 3 that counted, actually made a 4th. That was nullified by a penalty. Everett Goldberg hit a 50-yard field goal as well, and Troy Minzer had a nice day punting.
Right, and both our young snappers did a great job. I mean, Alex Killian, that's the first time he's ever played in the game, and and be at West Virginia in front of 50,000 plus. I was just hoping he wouldn't snap it over the head, and he had some really good snaps back there for us in the punt game, and Ricky Foreman did a good job in the field goal attempts because it's the same thing. So we got better. I thought our special teams play overall, I was very pleased with that. And then, like you said, on both sides of the football, which is the attitude that I want, we didn't care who we were playing, let's just go play.
Mm-hmm. Looking at offensively, a big game for Xavier Boyce, 8 catches for 100 yards. You got a glimpse to see what kind of potential he has. He had the big 56-yard gain in the first half, and you can see he can really be a big-time player for you.
He's just getting better, and I think the more he plays, the better he will get. He's had 2 good games to start the season off with, and good catches, and understanding the offense real well. He's fitting in real well, and I think we're getting better overall as a team, and that's what you want to be.
And defensively, I know you really were happy with the play of your linebackers as a unit, especially guys like Jamal Giddens, Corwin Hammond, and Amici Aniago really did a nice job against both the run and the pass on Saturday.
Playing very well, playing very fast, and we've got some good depth there. The young freshman, Marcel Koch, had a couple great plays, especially on the kickoff. It was one of the greatest plays our whole team's been talking about that, where he went down and ran over that offensive player, and his helmet came off and went right in and made the tackle without a helmet about 10 yards away. I don't know how smart that is, but it was a great play, and it just goes to show you the intensity that young man plays with.
All right, well, now moving forward, you open up your conference season this week, a game at Howard, a team that really gave you a tough ball game last year, 10-9. The Spartans were able to come away with a 1-point win last season. What are you looking for out of this Howard team this Saturday?
Well, it's the first conference game for both of us, so everybody's going to be fired up. Nobody wants to go 0-1 in the first conference game. You're playing on the road in a tough place to play at. We'll have to go in there and match what we did at West Virginia and try to do it for 60 minutes. They're going to obviously try to do what they did the last 30 minutes against Morehouse and play hard, so it should be the old-fashioned Donnybrook.
How hard is it to prepare for this Howard team this year? They have a new coach, first-year coach in Gary Harrell, a new quarterback, a freshman in Greg McGee, new offensive system. How hard is it to prepare for them? A little bit of uncertainty there.
Well, you have 2 games on them, and they're pretty much, because they're new, everybody always has a new wrinkle every week you play, particularly early in the season. But what we're seeing on film, I'm sure, will be 90-95% of their offense. So you just have to prepare for it like you do any other game and make sure your kids are ready on both sides of the football.
If you had to single out a couple of keys that you think will be really important for your team to come away with a win this Saturday, what would those be?
Well, we have to continue to do what we're doing offensively, not turning the ball over. I think our defense has to start producing more turnovers and then not give Howard any big plays where they can score from far out, things like that, which they have the capability with the Carter kid. The young quarterback throws the ball real well, and again, they've got 4 different running backs that they use at their tailback position who all have good speed and run hard.
All right, Coach. Well, we wish you good luck this Saturday, and we invite all the fans out there to make the trek up I-95 to Washington, D.C., and if you can't make it, don't forget you can listen to the game on the NSU Sports Network, 102.1 FM or 91.1 FM, and also you can catch the audio stream on our website, nsuspartans.com. We hope to hear from you again next week as the Spartans get ready to face Charleston Southern. Thank you for tuning in to the nsuspartans.com Football Coaches Show.